Good evening, and happy Friday Eve, and thank you for joining us for Up North Live Unscripted. Cody Bear in for Melissa today. Joe, we have a big coverage area, so it's pretty common that you'll have a mixed bag, but today, again, you know, just like the last couple of days, depends on where you were. Some people had clouds, some people had some sunshine. Yeah, it was nice in our southern areas. We broke out into a lot of sunshine, even 50 degrees in a couple spots. And then there was the Mackinac City area where it was 32, and the Mackinac Bridge was closed for a period of time earlier today. There's a look right now where it's 32, still foggy. The bridge has since reopened. Our Holiday Inn Express camera, the wind there out of the east right now at 15 miles per hour. Taking a look at where we have some fog, West Branch, kind of isolated there, and then up through the Straits, it's been a foggy afternoon and evening. Sheboygan, visibility for the last hour and a half has been at a half mile. Beaver Island dealing with fog, a little improvement there around Mackinac Island, which is at almost zero earlier. Visibility now up to about 1 mile. We have more rain, some sleet, freezing rain and snow on the way in, but mainly the impacts from this will be felt in the UP. We're looking at mainly rain in the lower peninsula, but a winter weather advisory in effect for the eastern UP until 7 o'clock tomorrow night. We're going to talk more about that and a look at how much snow is on the way in a few minutes. Pardon me. We should be good to go now if you can hear me. There we go. So as Joe was mentioning, the Mackinac Bridge was closed for about 7 hours today. Our question of the day today. We had a few options, less than 5, 5 to 15, 16 to 50, or more than 50. You can, of course, vote by scanning that QR code on your screen, or you can vote on our website, UpNorthLive.com, or our Facebook page. Now, our first story tonight, pointing to cases across the state. The Michigan House passed a package of bills to penalize doctors and donors who purposely misrepresent themselves or their work during fertility treatments. Up North Live's Remington Hernandez has the details. That's in tonight's Covering the Capitol report.
Fertility treatments are expensive, but they can also be life-changing. And now lawmakers are trying to put more accountability into the process.
Currently in Michigan, it's the Wild Wild West.
The House approving legislation Wednesday that would make it a crime for doctors providing fertility treatments to knowingly inseminate a patient with their own DNA without consent, and for donors to knowingly misrepresent their identity or medical history. Interlocutor Republican John Roth says it's a pervasive problem and was brought to his attention by a constituent.
Her mom was deceived both times that she was impregnated, both by 2 different doctors in the IVF clinic. And they thought these kids were going to be 100% Scottish, and they end up being 50-50. It hurt him a great deal.
Roth says he worked with prosecutors, doctors, and victims to craft the legislation. And while it did receive initial bipartisan support, many Democrats voted against it.
I think that there is an issue that these bills aim to address that does need to be taken seriously. I just think that the language of these bills creates an issue with liability.
Donors would need to know the medical history of relatives that are up to 3 degrees separated. The Democratic opponents feel donors could be caught in the crosshairs.
I don't even know who my third cousin is. I certainly don't know what health complications they have that I might also share. That's just a risk that I don't think we should be subjecting people to.
Democratic opponents tried and failed to propose more lenient language for donors, fearing a chilling effect on procedures. But Roth said the bills are clear.
Not an accident, not a mistake. This is knowingly deceiving or defrauding of the situation.
The chief advocacy and policy officer at the American Society for Reproductive Medicine doesn't think this will chill IVF interest and welcomes regulation.
There's no place for deception. There's no place for lying. And those acts ought to be punished.
Though he cautions that expectations don't always pan out, even if things are above board.
Human reproduction is a gamble. So you might know everything there is to know about the donor, everything there is to know about their medical history, everything there is to know about their genetic makeup. That does not guarantee what their offspring will be like. You might pick a blue-eyed sperm donor. Doesn't mean your kid's going to have blue eyes.
The Democratic concerns in the House are likely to be echoed in the Senate, which is controlled by the party, meaning the bills have a long way to go before they do become law. In Lansing at the Capitol, I'm Remington Hernandez reporting.
Keeping with health tonight, McLaren Healthcare is launching an artificial intelligence-powered heart disease screening program. The founders of the AI-assisted tool at McLaren and Bunker Hill Health say it will look at CT chest scans to detect early signs of heart disease. To talk a little bit more about this, we're going to invite Dr. Justin Clamaris to our show. He is the McLaren Healthcare Executive Vice President and Chief Clinical Officer. Doctor, thanks so much for joining us. Can we start by having you tell us a little bit about how this works?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on, Cody. I appreciate the attention to heart disease, this being a month that we take stock of the impact of this disease on our society. So the program that we have launched with Bunker Hill Health, is to identify from CT scans that we do as part of our routine work, patients who might be at risk for underlying coronary artery disease or aortic valvular heart disease. And these are hidden findings that, if it wasn't for the use of artificial intelligence, would go undetected.
Yeah, and you mentioned it there, and I want to emphasize it, because this works on patients who get scans that are not always necessarily directly related to heart issues. It's sometimes routine scans where it can pick this up.
That's indeed the case. We'll be, as part of this process, we'll be having this tool live in our imaging functions going forward, but we're also looking back at the last year of studies that we did across our health system. And you're right, these were incidental these were studies done for other purposes. If you had a possible pneumonia that was being investigated, shortness of breath, or any reason why we would do a chest CT, we are looking for those to try to find evidence of hidden disease that was unknown to the doctors who were taking care of you at that time.
Now, when the AI kind of comes into play, is that something patients need to sign off on? How does that kind of come into play?
You know, it is a common concern, right? As especially as we see the use of AI in many sectors of our economy and our life. In this case, it is running as part of our electronic health record in our imaging system. So it is not something that patients directly have the control to turn on or off. But I want to assure all of your viewers and all of our patients that we use the highest levels of security as we look at these companies and as we partner with companies to make sure that patient privacy is protected, that we are using this information for its intended purpose, and that we're really trying to serve people by detecting things that humans couldn't find.
So does the AI tool kind of come first when it comes to finding the flags in these scans, then a doctor's alerted and takes a closer look? What's the order of that process?
Yeah, great question. We'll be employing two strategies there. One is we'll be notifying the patients of their findings. So we'll be sending letters to our patients that the FDA-approved algorithm identified evidence of calcifications that, if the patient hadn't had a workup already, or wasn't seeing a cardiologist, wasn't having this investigated, that it might be a sign that they need to seek further care. So we'll be directing a letter to patients, but we'll also be sending a letter to their primary care physicians. And if they don't have a primary care physician, we'll of course be helping to navigate patients to that care.
Now, what this AI tool is doing, is that replacing anything current doctors do, or is it rather adding something that isn't already being done?
It's additive. So our radiologists read our studies across the health system. The radiologists are specialists who read CT scans and images for their findings. But this is actually looking not only at the images themselves for things that might otherwise be hidden, but it's also looking for, in the electronic health record, for some of the risk factors that might suggest that this is a problem for you, or maybe a problem for you, and is worthy of you meeting with your doctor to have investigated further. Things like risk factors for underlying heart disease, high cholesterol, hypertension, history of smoking, history of obesity, diabetes, things that accelerate the risk and also increase the importance of us making sure that we're taking the follow-up steps that are necessary.
Now, Doctor, earlier you mentioned how wide-ranging of an issue this can be. Can you talk a little bit about how many people this program is expected to help one way or the other?
Sure. We anticipate, if we just look at our imaging studies across McLaren Healthcare, and we're a health system with 14 hospitals throughout the state, we do about 1 million images a year across our health system. CT scans of the chest, We anticipate looking at about 45,000 studies. And underneath all of those 45,000 studies, by the time the AI algorithm looks at the CT scan, it reviews the electronic health record and the information known about the patients in our health information system, that we'll probably identify somewhere between 2,000 to 4,000 patients who need some sort of further attention, whether that be meeting with their primary care physician to review the risk factors, to review the findings, perhaps to investigate with further studies. But we anticipate across the system that it will impact that number of patients.
Sure. Doctor, thanks so much for joining us. Before we let you go, is there anything else that you would like people to know about this program?
Well, just again, it being Heart Month, want to remind everybody the importance of diet, exercise, and the things that keep our hearts healthy. Our goal is prevention, not to find disease, but to prevent it, and encourage everybody to employ the healthy lifestyles that are important to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again, Dr. Justin Clamaris, McLaren Healthcare EVP and Chief Clinical Officer, joining us there. Now, if you're looking for a summer job that gets you outside, the Huron-Manistee National Forests is now hiring seasonal workers. Forest Service leaders say they're hoping to fill 13 seasonal positions this year. Those jobs include forestry aide and forestry technician roles, working in both timber and recreation. The positions are located in Baldwin, Mayo, and Oscoda. Most of the openings are entry level and are ideal for students or anyone wanting hands-on experience in natural resources. Officials say these seasonal workers help make summer in the forest possible. Applications open tomorrow. We have a link with information on how to apply posted with this story on our website, UpNorthLive.com. Well, again, the day you saw outside depended very much on where you were. When we get back, we'll talk about who saw what and what's to come. Stay with us.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
I'm Dee Dee Gatton with the National News Desk in Washington, D.C., and this is your news update.
What we're doing is very simple. Peace. It's called the Board of Peace, and it's all about an easy word to say, but a hard word to produce. Peace.
President Donald Trump hosted the inaugural meeting of his Board of Peace today in Washington, D.C. The first announcement out of the board was 9 members pledged $7 billion for the reconstruction of war-torn Gaza. Representatives from about 24 member states were joined by roughly another 40 countries who sent observers for the first meeting. Plus, nearly 6,000 ISIS fighters are now re-imprisoned in Iraq after U.S. forces stopped a near-prison break in northern Syria. Last month, Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces who guarded the prison collapsed amid fighting with Syrian militants. And there's this.
People throwing rocks at me, saying ugly, nasty things, I totally get that. But the rumors are completely untruthful.
New details are emerging about allegations of an affair between Texas Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez and a former staffer who died by suicide last year. Text messages between Regina Santos Aviles and another former staffer state she had, quote, an affair with our boss. Gonzalez, amid calls to resign, claims the timing of the allegations is politically motivated. And that's your news update.
Welcome back to Up North Live Unscripted. Joe, when I left the house closer to around 2 to 3, I felt like I could lose my jacket outside.
I had the windows down on the way to work. I really did,
Yeah, it was great. I mean, you know, it was sunny there. And then near the Mackinac Bridge, not quite as warm, but it was a warm-up that led to the bridge being shut down, correct?
Yeah, so you get above 32 or close to that, and this ice starts melting, and these chunks start falling off. And I don't know if you've ever seen, you can look, I think on YouTube, you can look up videos of ice falling off the bridge. It's huge chunks. It's really dangerous, so that's why they did close the bridge. This is all sped up, the time lapse there today. There was the morning, and then you can see when the bridge closed right there. Traffic stopped. And then we zoomed in. You can see through the afternoon, and then fog really thickened up then. Yeah, look at that. But the bridge has reopened. It's open now, and things are much better shape here this evening. Now, where we had sun, let's take a look. This is Torch Lake in Antrim County. We're going to jump down there. And this is, so some of you who are familiar with Torch Lake, this is the sandbar area on the south end of the lake. In the summer, packed with boaters and folks having fun. And then, well, a lot of ice, and kind of had the whole sandbar to yourself today. Look at the blue skies, too. I mean, there were parts of northern Michigan where it looked like that. You can see all the ice there on Torch Lake earlier today. All right, temperatures, here's a look right now. And again, yeah, Mackinac Island, Mackinac City, 32, 34 at Pellston, right near freezing. Meanwhile, Cadillac's at 43. It's still 46 right now at Mount Pleasant. And there's where that fog is thick. It's actually improved somewhat in the Straits, although we still have some fog there. Beaver Island, West Branch, also dealing with some fog. But we have another system coming in. There it is tonight right here. There's a tornado watch right here, this red box out ahead of that. A mild flow out ahead of this low, so it's going to stay pretty mild. We're not going to really drop off much tonight temperature-wise. We've had some sunshine in a fair portion of the area, but the clouds are starting to fill back in. And then here is a look at some of this rain. By the way, that's a tornado warning, that red box there with this thunderstorm, parent tornado on the ground there in southern Indiana, south of Indianapolis perhaps. Rain will arrive here overnight. It's going to take a little while, probably a few more hours yet till we see this. Mainly rain in lower Michigan. In the UP and Straits, some freezing rain. There's tomorrow morning. Into the afternoon, some snow will even start mixing in too. Tomorrow afternoon, as low pressure will sit right over us. That low is going to move right across lower Michigan. And then behind that, some colder weather. Eventually, late Friday night into Saturday, this will completely switch over to just snow showers. There we are Saturday afternoon. As far as our thoughts on snow, 1 to 2 inches with this. This is not going to be a major snow producer through tomorrow, and then additional snow Friday night into Saturday. Maybe up to 4 inches there around the greater Gaylord area. And ice accumulation, thankfully, we don't expect a lot, but we could see a little bit of icing, a light glaze there across the eastern UP. If you have weekend plans, well, some snow showers Saturday, upper 20s and mid-30s. Sunday, upper 20s to around 30. Sunday, snow showers should be confined to the lower peninsula. All right, tonight, late showers and freezing rain, temperatures in the 30s tonight. As the night progresses, we should stay above freezing for a lot of spots. That's why, again, we're looking at generally just rain. Houghton Lake, Higgins Lake, 34. Tomorrow, freezing rain and rain in the UP will give way to snow, with daytime highs in the 30s. For a good swath of northern Michigan, freezing rain and rain giving way to snow later in the day. Here, rain and snow showers at times, mid to upper 30s to around 40. And here, showers and drizzle will give way to a little bit of a late mix of rain or snow showers. All right, the extended forecast, there it is. Temperatures in the upper 20s. We're looking at a couple snow showers Sunday, a little cooler too Monday, low and mid 20s expected. And then another chance for some snow later Tuesday into Wednesday perhaps.
Thank you, Joe. Coming up, Sports Director Harrison Beebe will introduce us to a two-sport athlete from Leadington that has big plans for his college career. Keep it here. Welcome back to Up North Live Unscripted. Sports Director Harrison Beebe is out covering high school hockey regionals tonight, something to look forward to for later. But right now, we do have our latest Jimmy John's Sports Corner profiling a two-sport athlete from Leadington that has big plans for his college career.
The following segment is sponsored by Jimmy John's of Traverse City.
Cameron Gunsell is one of the more talented athletes in northern Michigan, and that's showing in his dedication this boys' basketball season. The Leadington senior has the Orioles out to a 19-2 record, hoping to make a huge run in the postseason that begins next week. But he has big plans for college already. Gunsell will play football for the reigning Division II national champion Ferris State Bulldogs.
Really, my parents, my family, everybody wants to be a Bulldog. Everybody's been a Bulldog. My dad played at Ferris, and yeah, Grand Valley honestly did a great job recruiting me, but at the end of the day, I knew it's where I wanted to be, and that's why I'm a Bulldog today.
The Ludington quarterback says that position will be up for grabs when he's playing in Big Rapids as well.
It'll definitely be a competition. There's a lot of good quarterbacks there, but I'm excited. I want to compete with the best.
And when you're suiting up for a legendary head coach in Tony Annese, the decision to go to Ferris becomes that much easier.
He's honest with you. If you're not doing something right, he's going to tell you. If you're doing something good, he's going to hype you up. So he's a good coach. This is exciting. You know, everybody wants to win, and at Ferris, they win. So that's a big reason why I chose there. I like to win.
Checking on our hockey scoreboard for today, we know we got a doubleheader of regional semifinal games covered in Division 3. The two co-ops going at it right now, the Lakeshore Badgers from the Manistee area going up against the Bay Reps co-op from Traverse City. And then the nightcap of that doubleheader in the Cadillac region will involve the Vikings at the Wexford County Civic Center facing Petoskey. We'll get you highlights from those games at 11, as well as the huge victory for Team USA, winning a gold medal in women's hockey at the Olympics by defeating Canada in overtime. The Americans needed a goal in the last few minutes with an empty net opportunity, then extra skater on the ice and forced overtime, and from there, Megan Keller made the game-winning goal a few minutes in to give the United States the gold in women's hockey. So with that recent gold medal tacked to the list, that now gives the Americans 8 overall for the 2026 Winter Games. Still quite a ways back from Norway. It appears the Norwegians once again locking up the top spot. That's going to do it for sports. I'm Harrison Beebe.
Thanks to Harrison for that report. Coming up, we will take one last look at our live results for our question of the day right after this.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Welcome back to Up North Live Unscripted, taking one last look at our question of the day. Now, the Mackinac Bridge did close today for the second day in a row. Got us thinking about the mighty Mac. Our question was, how many times per year do you cross the Mackinac Bridge? Less than 5 times had 58% of the vote. 5 to 15 with 25%, 16 to 50 with 11%, and more than 50 times at 6%. Now, William said, I used to drive across the bridge 2 times a day, 5 days a week. Helen said at least a half dozen, needs to be more. Personally, I am in that less than 5 times, but I want to get to do it very, very soon. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you later at 11.